Whether you're a guy in a cape or a rogue who's sneaky, join Chris and Jason tonight as we entertain the geeky.
I always forget what that is, so I don't want to just chime in and step on your moment.
It's been the same thing for 2
years.
years.
I know, but I don't. This isn't my show.
Fair enough.
It's your show.
Guys, what's going on? But you're a part of the company.
It's true, but I do my own thing.
That's fair. That's like, as far as creative liberty goes, like, Jason, go do your thing.
Yeah.
Like,
I just kind of do it.
Yeah. It's fun though.
We put up the episode today about talking about who should play the X-Men in the MCU.
Dude, I was fucking stoked to see that. So I see the Nerd News logo pop up on my feed, and I'm like, yes!
It's back. I talked to them. It was just archived. It was not gone.
Thank
it's back.
God.
Yeah.
So, okay, we've been total derelicts here with the shows and everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've dropped the ball. We're gonna get it rolling again. And basically,
I thought that show was gone forever.
So did I. I was scared shitless. Well, you know what sucks is I recently had a computer go down and I literally lost our entire archive of episodes.
Ugh.
So it was everything. And then we thought we lost them online as well.
Yeah.
So I was like having a panic attack.
Yeah.
And like I was in tears and shit. And I'm like, oh my God, we just lost fucking 2.5 years of Entertain the Geeky comment.
Yeah.
So I'm reaching out to the fucking host site and I'm like, is there anything we can do? I'm so scared. And they're like, oh yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
It was easy. You just had to communicate with them.
Took them a half a second. And
yeah.
they're like, it's cool.
I communicated with them yesterday. It was back up today.
Isn't that unreal?
Fine. Yeah. Yeah. But we did do the MCU casting call with Jams, and that was fun.
Yeah.
Because I really do think Tom Hardy should play Wolverine.
How interesting would that be?
I'm sticking by that. First of all, he's short.
What do you think about Ratcliffe?
No. Harry Potter's not Wolverine.
What about, because I've also seen Zac Efron.
No.
Dude,
Zac Efron should play Cyclops, actually.
He's not tall enough. I wouldn't put him as Cyclops.
He's taller than Tom Hardy.
He's 5'9". Tom Hardy's 5'9".
No, Tom Hardy's like 5'6". Tom Hardy's a short man.
I thought he was like 5'8" or 5'9".
No, he's actually he's shorter than me.
Really?
And I'm not tall.
Well, I mean, I'm not. So I'm 5'10". I'm not a tall guy.
Well, so the way he's shot in his films, especially like Dark Knight Rises, where he was Bane.
Yeah, they shoot that underneath.
They shoot him at forced perspective, so he looks more imposing. But yeah, he's actually a very short man.
Fair enough.
Which not only works for Wolverine, but he definitely has shown us many, many times over that he's the acting chops to play someone who has a calm rage, which is exactly who Wolverine is. Wolverine is a very calm individual, but he has a rage inside of him that just is unlike anything you've ever seen.
I would love to see Zac Efron as it too. The guy's built like a brick shit house. He looks like Wolverine without a shirt on.
See, I think
give him the fucking chops and it's on.
See, I think Hardy has that more because Hardy's not a guy who is by any stretch of the imagination a bodybuilder, right? He doesn't have the body of a bodybuilder, but he does have the body of a guy who would kick the shit out of you. But he doesn't look like he has the body of a guy who could kick the shit out of you. Which has always been Wolverine's thing to me, is like, he doesn't look imposing, but he's super fucking imposing.
He's not big, but he's jacked. He's built like a brick shit house. He's like 5'2". Okay, he's been written as 5'2" to 5'6" traditionally, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And like 220 pounds with adamantium, like almost 700.
Yeah. I don't know how he carries around that frame. I've never understood that at all.
You would be fucking jacked.
Well, yeah,
I mean, carrying around that much
for
weight
sure.
all the
That
time.
expects
every time you move your arm, it's like you're curling 100 pounds.
Yeah.
But I mean, so in that, we can geek out for a second here. So this is one of the things that I find fascinating about that, and that I think makes him a cool character. So if you had this healing factor that he has, your muscle regeneration would be through the roof. So like, whereas I would work out and I need to let that recover. He doesn't.
No, it recovers immediately.
Recover. So he would be so fucking strong.
Yeah, that's why he smokes cigars, right? Never has to worry about cancer.
Yeah. It happened in that one story. Riddled with cancer, and it was when they killed him off. Death of Wolverine.
Oh, yeah.
That was so bad.
No, not Death of Wolverine. You're talking about the end. He was very sick and old.
He had, they said he had cancer and shit in it from all of his years of exposure to radiation and this, that, and the other.
The adamantium was poisoning him.
Well, there was that as well.
Yeah, that was what
the dude had like 8 things wrong with him at that point.
I remember that. I think it was just adamantium poisoning.
They said he had issues with radiation and all kinds of shit.
Okay.
I could pull the book.
No, I mean, I haven't read it in a long time.
Yeah,
I read it when it came out.
Well, so did I, and I was like, this sucks.
Yeah, it was not a good way to take out a character like that.
Not that character.
No, yeah. Yeah, I would have been fine with that story for some other characters, but yeah, for Wolverine, it was only 4 issues, first of all. Which,
weak.
Yeah, I mean, at least let's give Wolverine at least 6.
It was Marvel saying
For his
"fuck you,
final
Fox"
story.
is all that was, though. It was them being
Yeah,
like,
they
"Fuck you,
canceled
Fox."
Fantastic Four. Yeah, I mean, that was around the time they were really
It was a
trying
dirty
to
time.
distance themselves. They were trying to make the Inhumans the new X-Men, and it just
No, I
didn't
remember
work.
that. No, it didn't. It shouldn't have, though.
The Inhumans, I like the Inhumans. I'm
They're
not
not
going to deny,
X-Men, though.
but they're not the X-Men. Yeah.
Well, the X-Men. So the X-Men deal with racism and all this stuff.
Yeah.
The Inhumans don't. It's
They,
just,
they do a little bit,
a
but it's
different
more of a
beast.
xenophobic thing than
Correct.
a racist thing, right?
Correct.
Because they are technically otherworldly beings.
Yeah.
Right? Like their DNA comes from the Kree. So yeah, I mean it's more of a I don't like you because you're an alien, not I don't like you because you're a messed up human.
Yeah. Exactly.
But everybody has that. I mean, I never understood why a guy like Reed Richards is a superhero and a guy like Cyclops is a pariah.
Right.
I don't really understand the difference.
Well, I think so. I don't think they intended, like, as they're writing these characters, I seriously don't think they were like, we just need to have all kinds of cross-contamination.
Right.
They were like, in this little part of the world, well, everybody's a racist, and you don't like mutants, and that's just how this works.
Yeah, you put the name mutant on it, and
Yeah.
suddenly it's a racial issue.
Yeah, so they're just, look at those dirty mutants over there.
Speaking of which, they've actually really kind of experienced a pretty big upheaval within the X-Men world because of Nate Gray,
Okay.
who is a clone of Cable,
Mm-hmm.
but he also has like I don't remember where this happened, but for some reason he seems to now have powers that are above and beyond what he used to have, and he thinks he's mutant Jesus. And so we had kind of a apocalypse story from a different perspective.
Yeah, Mr. Sinister almost. Yeah.
It really felt like apocalypse because he had 4 horsemen,
Oh,
but
God.
they were to cleanse the world, not rule the world.
Okay.
And they did an arc called Disassembled. It was a weekly story in the new Uncanny X-Men book, so it was issues 1 through 10, and it just recently finished up. And I'm not really sure where they go from here. He kind of magicked a bunch of people out of existence.
So it's like a mutant genocide kind of thing.
It kind of reminds me of when Scarlet Witch decided mutants weren't going to be a thing anymore, and she just snapped her fingers and everyone was gone.
Thanos.
And there was no more mutants.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he even said no more X-Men. Like, I think he even uttered those words in the
God.
finale of the book. Now, I'm not saying that made the book bad. The book was actually interesting. I enjoyed the arc as we've, worked through the first 10 issues. I just really don't understand what they're setting this up for. Like, first of all, I don't understand why he thinks he's mutant Jesus now. That wasn't really made clear. He just kind of showed up and he was like, I'm going to rule now and I'm going to make the world a better place for everyone.
So
I don't really understand. But hopefully some of these stories, these one-shots that are coming out in the aftermath of this are going to help explain it a little more.
So about 20 years ago, the way Cable was explained to me was, okay, Scott and Jean's baby.
Yeah.
He's too strong. It was killing him, so they infected him with some virus to keep him alive.
Yeah. And then they send him into the future.
Then they send him into the future.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have this guy that's crazy strong, way too strong for his own good. You basically have to start killing him so that he's not too strong to kill himself. Okay, so I could see where basically untapped Cable.
Well, Nate Gray is also from the Age of Apocalypse, remember?
Yeah, that's
he is
fair.
technically still a clone of Nathan, but he's a clone of a Nathan from a different universe.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And that was actually something that happened during the story. He got taken to the Age of Apocalypse by, I don't remember which character did it, but essentially they took him to the Age of Apocalypse to try to show him a better way, I guess.
Neat.
And it didn't work.
He was still a prick.
But it was kind of cool to see the Age of Apocalypse again,
yeah.
even for a couple issues. There.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But he even looks like Jesus. Like he's got a big beard now. He's got long hair.
White robes.
Yeah, he really does. He looks like the mutant messiah. Like that's what he looks like. He's got an X logo on the thing, right?
That
like,
is fucking hysterical.
he's like X-Men Jesus.
They took his cross and just slightly tilted it, and they were like, "There we go."
He's X-Men Jesus now.
I wonder what artist was like, this is how I'm going to draw it.
Well, right? I mean, who that was my thing, right? Because this has obviously been a collaboration because almost every issue of that book has different writers.
Yeah.
Not different, just it has multiple writers working on it. So this was obviously like we're all sitting at the
grand
table
scheme kind of thing,
and we're going
yeah.
to decide where we're going to go with this story. I really just am curious who thought Nate Gray should be the star.
That is bizarre,
because
isn't
he's
it?
such a weird, obscure. I mean, yes, we know who Nate Gray is, but it's not because we know who Nate Gray is. It's because we know who Cable is.
It might be one of those things where they're trying to bring a character into the light that.
Well, they just killed Cable.
Well, that's why.
A little while ago. So yeah, we have to. I guess we have to have a Cable, but Nate Gray's not Cable.
No.
Right? I mean, he doesn't even have the techno-organic virus, so he has no metal parts on him at all. I just don't understand who thought this weird B character. I mean, he's not even a B character. He's a C character. I just wonder who thought this C character should be the star now. It seems like a weird decision to me. And I hope it pays off for them. I hope it works and it's a great story and we can look back on it fondly.
I mean, this could be basically where a character emerges and isn't obscure anymore, because that's happened a couple of times. Cable was
very obscure when they first created him. His only book was X-Force.
Well, fuck, Deadpool was obscure.
That's true. Yeah, he didn't even star in his own book.
Nobody gave a shit about him.
He was a New Mutants character.
Yeah, nobody gave a shit about him. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh my god, did you know there's this asshole?
It's true, but I guess for me, like, I understand what you're saying and trying to take a character who most people don't know and put them in the limelight again. I just feel like it's a weird choice to pick Nate Gray.
Well, it doesn't work when you force it.
Yeah, it seems like they're forcing it a little bit.
Well, they probably are, because they're like, hey, we need to... It probably has something to do with movies.
I don't know.
They did this shit where they tried to make everything the same for a good while.
You're right, they did.
And it was disgusting.
But the point is, they realized that was a bad decision and that the movies and the comics should not mirror each other.
Yeah, but there's a fucking mouse in control of it that's like, oh, guys, listen, what we're going to do here.
First of all, Disney owning Marvel does not have anything to do with the creative process. They still have their own team of creators, their own team of writers and artists that make these decisions. Marvel Comics still has a CFO, right? It's not Bob Iger. Bob Iger's not the CFO of Marvel Comics. Kevin Feige is in charge of Marvel Studios. This is not a thing that, they have autonomy to do their own thing.
Did the mouse tell you to say that?
Yes, the mouse told me to say that. But on the other side of the fence, right, in DC Comics, I'm actually really enjoying The Batman Who Laughs.
That's what you were telling me. So
yeah, so it's a 6-issue miniseries. Supposedly, DC is dubbing 2019 the year of the supervillain. So we are going to see some more. We're going to see some arcs that are specific to the villains, right? So Justice League has obviously been setting up Lex Luthor's new Legion of Doom.
Hell yeah.
It's great, by the way. If you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend it. Scott Snyder is one of my favorite writers, and that's not just an opinion. He's fantastic. He really knows what he's doing with the characters. And seeing him get to write the entire roster of Justice League has been fantastic, especially redefining who these villains are as a group. Because you have Joker in there, you have Cheetah, you have Black Manta, you have Sinestro, you have Lex Luthor. I mean, it's a good group. It's a killer group. It's the original group, right? Yeah. Like, it's the old group of the Legion of Doom. So we have arcs for Lex Luthor that are building to something big. We have even arcs for some of the smaller characters like Cheetah and Black Manta that are building to something in the Wonder Woman and Aquaman books, respectively. But The Batman Who Laughs is supposed to, after this miniseries is done, take center stage as a villainous presence in the DC universe, not just as an antagonist to the Batman, as an antagonist to all of them, because he is the Batman. If you're unfamiliar, the Batman Who Laughs is a version of Bruce Wayne from another universe who murdered the Joker in a night of rage, and the Joker's last laugh was that when his heart stopped, a toxin was released that obviously Batman inhaled that slowly twisted his mind into the Joker's. And so now he's a amalgam of Bruce's will and intelligence and the Joker's chaos, and he's a force to be reckoned with. Batman even said it. Bruce said these words, that this is a version of me who embodies the quintessential words, Batman always wins, because he will always win. And the book has started out just showing us why he is supposed to be such a big presence in this new DC universe.
It's intense.
It's only 2 issues in. Lots of people are dead.
That's fucking badass.
And he's brought in a sidekick that is basically Batman mixed with the Punisher.
Now, is this all side universe, or is it all main universe?
This is main universe now.
God damn. So
they kept the Batman Who Laughs around in the aftermath of Dark Knight's Metal,
yep,
because he was obviously the most popular character.
Yeah, everybody liked him.
And they have big plans for him because, like I said, he's not just a villain to the Batman. He's a character who can be a villain to the entire DC. He's the new Lex Luthor.
He'd fuck everything up. Yeah.
I mean, in his own universe, he murdered the Justice League.
Just a beast like a boss.
He murdered them, and it wasn't even like a fight. Like, they lost very, very quickly,
yeah,
because he's Batman. In every universe.
I have a plan for that.
Right. Doesn't matter what universe you go to. Batman's got a plan to take down the Flash and Superman and Aquaman and Wonder Woman, all of them. He knows their weaknesses. Yeah. Because, he worries that one day they might turn against humanity and he might have to take them down.
Well, that was okay. So have you played Injustice 2? Yeah.
No. I don't like fighting games.
Okay.
I'm not a fighting game person. Except Smash Brothers.
The storyline in it is very much Batman versus the rest of the Justice League.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
And very it's that whole Batman has to have that contingency plan, and it's Batman versus the world, and it's really interesting because of that.
Yeah, I have no doubt.
Realistically, though, I hate the fucking idea of Batman being able to take down the whole Justice League.
I guess I can understand where you're coming from, but from the perspective of Bruce as a character, he's smarter than them.
He is.
He just is.
He is.
And because he's their friend, he absolutely understands what buttons to press to take them down.
Sure. The stuff that you can't overcome, though, fucking Superman is basically the embodiment of God.
You're right. And the Doomsday Protocol is in place so that if Bruce ever has to take down Superman, he's ready.
Hopefully. But if Superman wanted him dead...
Do you know what the Doomsday Protocol is?
What's the Doomsday Protocol? What you got?
Is Bruce turning into Doomsday.
Oh, is that really it?
He has a little jar of doom cells that literally can turn him into Doomsday. It's actually how the Devastator was born during Dark Knight's Metal.
Interesting. Okay, so I can kill Superman. And
Doomsday is absolutely the character who can kill Superman.
I'll kill Superman and everything else. Did he think of that? No, he didn't.
He has. Absolutely.
How is he going to kill himself when it's over?
He didn't. His world was destroyed and the Devastator was brought into the conflict by the Batman Who Laughs.
See, yeah.
So
that's a shitty plan.
It's a plan,
Brucey.
It's a plan.
No, truth be told, if Superman wanted to totally fuck him up, it would just happen. Superman wouldn't just totally fuck him up.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? But Clark doesn't have the backbone to do that.
Exactly.
That's the reality, right? Is when it comes to his friends, he would always pull his punches.
Absolutely.
Even if he was fighting someone who is strength-wise equally matched, like Martian Manhunter. Mm-hmm. He would always pull his punches because this is his friend.
He doesn't want to hurt him.
And he doesn't want to hurt him.
Yeah.
Batman does not have that conscience. He will not pull his punches. He will do everything he can to stop you, regardless of how much he loves you or cares about you or has...
Feelings.
Bonded with you in the past. It doesn't matter. That shit all goes out the window when you turn on humanity.
Yeah, he's a sociopath.
He is.
He has zero fucking conscience.
He also has zero chill.
Yeah.
There's no chill in the Batman.
So, one of the things that I saw recently that fucking totally tickled me.
Yeah, what do you got?
DC Primal Age.
See, I don't know what this is. You mentioned this, and I'm a little out of the game when it comes to new things that are coming down the pipeline.
So it's a new series of action figures, and they're basically He-Man action figures of DC characters.
Wait, huh?
Yeah, so Funko is the one that put them out.
Okay.
Because Funko makes those old He-Man-esque figures like my Zorn up there.
Yeah.
So just those overly buff, completely disproportioned characters that are hilarious looking. So
they're doing this with the DC characters,
and it's called Primal Age, and it's like medieval Batman and Joker and all it. Oh my god, they're hysterical. But fucking Batman has a tiger to ride around on, and Joker has this like smiling lizard thing that he rides around on. It is
so
amazing.
We're taking a lesson from '90s action figures and just going completely out of the over the top with.
I'd say '80s action figures. It's so.
I remember some super buff Luke Skywalker. My Luke Skywalker action figure that I bought in the 90s when I was a child was like way more buff than Mark Hamill. Ridiculous buff.
No. Of course there's that. But if you look at the old He-Man figures.
Oh no, I was a He-Man fan. Yeah.
They were from the 80s. I mean, those were fucked up looking. Like it's like this thing has a series of tumors through its body.
Muscle tumors?
Yes. Yes.
That's creepy.
They all look like the Hulk. Every single one of them. So they made this line of figures. It even has like its own Castle Grayskull, but it's, the Batcave. And they're fucking fantastic and hysterical. They've even put out 10 lunchboxes. These are totally geared at people like you and me, not at kids.
See, but these are not the kind of action figures that I would buy.
I absolutely would.
And this was all that I had in the 90s was ridiculous, over-the-top, muscular, buff guys.
The obscene action figures. No, I agree.
But that's, a part of me that I find silly and I don't want to go back to. Like when they released the Batman animated series line of action figures that literally looked just like they did in the old animated series, I bought every one. Yeah. I own literally every one of those stupid things.
Yes,
and the Batmobile, that's to scale. And the Batwing, that's to scale.
The Batmobile is sick from that side.
The Batmobile is sick. It lights up.
Yeah.
But that's because they look like the cartoon. And that was nostalgic for me.
Yeah.
What I am not nostalgic for is steroid freak figures.
it's its own series. They're supposed to be steroid freak figures because it's really just a call to that it's
Sure,
He-Man.
yeah. I
It's
mean,
He-Man with
Did you
DC
love
skin.
He-Man? Here's a Batman He-Man. Here's Superman
That's
He-Man.
all it is, and it's fucking amazing. It's so funny.
You and I have different definitions of amazing.
So you know what's funny is I love the crazy posable action figures that have 80 points of articulation and all that, and they look incredible. It basically looks like a human in a box.
Yeah.
Like those are fantastic. I love them. I also love a bunch of the over the top stuff. Like you remember getting Ninja Turtles when you were a kid? Bless you.
Oh, excuse me.
You remember
Yes.
getting Ninja Turtles and you were just fucking stoked. They are so preposterous, those toys.
Yeah.
They don't. They have like 4 points of articulation. The arms move a little bit and the legs move a little bit.
And the head.
Oh yeah, the head did too, didn't it? But they didn't.
You could also take the head right off.
They didn't do
popped right off.
shit. Like it was such a shitty toy.
I loved my Ninja Turtles action
Everybody
figures.
loved their Ninja Turtles
I had
action
the
figures.
van and
But
that
they-
shot little mini pizzas.
They were so bizarre looking
were.
and out of proportion and all that stuff. Like again,
Well, also, the ones they made for the movie were nightmare fuel.
oh my god, right?
Like because they
Terrifying.
took they made the initial line was made after in reference to the cartoon where
Yeah.
they like looked like the cartoon characters. Yes, they had no articulation, but at least they looked like the cartoon characters. When they tried to translate that to the movie characters and all the parts were made of rubber except the shell,
Yeah.
like it was They were nightmare fuel.
No,
Not to mention the fact that you could pull their heads up just a little bit to where they wouldn't pop off, and it made their necks look ridiculously long,
Hell yeah.
which was also really creepy.
yes. What would have made them perfect is if you could have stuck the head into the shell.
Well, if you took the head off, it looked like the head was in the shell.
Yeah.
Which is what I would do. You could take all the parts off and just have the little shell sitting there.
He's hiding,
He's inside the shell. He's a turtle. That's what they do.
even though the shell could not fit these huge muscles in it.
It's true, yeah. They were a little ridiculously proportioned. But they were nightmare fuel.
No, but the Ninja Turtles were ridiculous. If DC was like, hey, guess what? Here's the Batman Ninja Turtle. I'd be like, that's fucking
I
awesome.
couldn't do that.
I would be so
couldn't.
stoked.
It's like, I seem to remember, like, Space Batman with, like, a bat spacesuit on. And I found that
right.
ridiculous,
How
too.
many times have they done? Because that's been about 18 times.
Yeah, I found that ridiculous, too. Like, Batman doesn't go in space. That's Superman's thing. That's Green Lantern's thing.
You know, I remember
Batman doesn't go in space.
I remember getting my Batman Beyond figure when that series first came out, and it was a badass figure. No articulation.
No, yeah. I mean, the animated series ones, they're like, I think their knees bend, and maybe their elbows bend. I don't even think the elbows bend on some of them.
I thought the hips, like right up at the hip joint, bent. I could be wrong.
Maybe.
I don't remember.
I didn't open any of them, right? Like, because
okay,
I don't
yeah.
open my toys. I leave them in the package.
Yeah, no, I'm disgusting like that too.
Except for the Batmobile and the Batwing, because, those need to be experienced.
He's like, I fucking play with those. To answer your question,
I don't play with them, but I will turn the lights on every now and again and look at it cool, sitting there on the shelf with its lights on.
so
Eventually, I want to hang that Batwing from my ceiling.
you need to in the living room.
No, in the basement
You're like,
where my
"Honey,
stuff goes.
This is our new chandelier.
No, I don't think she'd go for that.
I'm so blessed. So Tara one day was like, hey, when we were setting up the living room, she's like, do you want to just put all your nerd stuff up in here? And I was like, is this real life right now? And she's like, yeah, just go ahead and start putting it up. And I was like, fuck yeah.
I mean, yeah, this living room does look like your office used to at your other apartment.
It does.
Pretty much the same setup.
Well,
Yeah.
it's all the same shit.
That's, yeah.
So there was only one thing to do with it, and it was throw it all out there. So Kevin Smith is getting to do the Howard the Duck series and all that.
Yeah, I heard about that. I don't understand.
What are your thoughts, comments, concerns?
You're talking about the cartoons, the
Yeah.
Hulu thing that they
Yeah.
announced? I don't know, man. In all reality, like, I guess I'm just burnt out on this idea that these things are different than the Marvel Cinematic Universe stuff.
Fair enough.
I'm burnt out on that idea. I want it all to be one again, right? At the beginning, it was. We had TV shows, we had Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and we had Agent Carter, right? But they still tried their hardest to be tied into the movie world.
Oh,
I mean, there was a
absolutely.
whole episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that took place in the aftermath of Thor the Dark World. Where,
Yeah.
like, superheroes come in and they destroy everything. Who cleans it up? Well, S.H.I.E.L.D.
Came out a week after the movie.
Yeah, it came out the week after
Yeah.
the movie. Not
That
to
was
mention the
awesome.
fact that they did a whole arc in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that sets up why that helicarrier pops up out of nowhere in Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, where the hell did Nick Fury get a helicarrier? Okay, well, if you're watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.,
You would know.
you would know, because
No,
they've
they
been
just-
working on it.
Well, that was one of the cool things. So when the first season of Daredevil, they definitely tipped their hat to it a lot.
But they, in the Netflix series, have always just alluded to the events. They've
Yeah.
never tried to connect their series to those events.
Well, I can't blame them because you don't. There've already been series doing it. You don't want to say, all right, well, this is happening because of this. Like, these guys are handling crime at a different level, something totally
I get
different.
that, right? But when we get all the Avengers together in Endgame,
Yeah.
right? Because this is it. If we don't win here, we're done, right? This is universe-shattering stuff, okay? Daredevil, Luke Cage, Iron Fist,
They should be there.
Jessica. These are characters that would stand up and fight for the planet.
I agree.
Without hesitation. Doesn't matter what the gang's got going on, right? I'm a hero and the planet is threatened. Guess what? I'm going to stand toe-to-toe with that other hero.
I'm here to fuck
and
shit
defend
up.
the planet.
Yeah.
Right? Daredevil fighting alongside Captain America. Beautiful.
Alongside Spider-Man, I would kill to see that.
This is what I'm talking about. I guess I'm excited about the idea of Marvel cartoons, but
You want
I'm
oneness.
disappointed that we're branching off into so many different things where, look, oversaturation is the word, right?
Yeah.
But the movies, if there was any kind of hint that people were getting tired of it, well, the movies wouldn't be doing as good as they still are. They're still doing well. The movies are making more money now than they ever have, right? So people aren't
They
tired
cost
of
more
it,
now too.
right? But I think Marvel has this idea that because people aren't tired of it, we could just put it on everything. We're gonna do Marvel cartoons. We're gonna do Marvel TV shows. We're gonna do Marvel
absolutely.
movies. And
But they've been doing that. So like,
I agree, those are things I love, but let's make them all feel like they're part of the same thing now.
well, so okay, with cartoons, like when the Avengers movie came out, there was Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes. That was a different series, totally different Avengers thing going on.
Sure.
It was such a good show. It was written by Chris Yost, who also was a consultant on the original Avengers movie.
He also wrote X-Force.
Yes, he did.
When
And
Cyclops turned it into a Black Ops group.
he did Scarlet Spider as well, which is one of my favorites. So like, he was doing good shit, and they were
No doubt.
two different things. But I was cool with it. I didn't need them to be one.
Cartoons
or
are one
anything
thing,
like
right?
that.
Cartoons can be what they want to be. And in that regard, I guess I'm excited. But Howard the Duck?
No, I don't give a shit about Howard the
give a
Duck.
shit about Howard
MODOK,
the
I'm
Duck.
stoked about though.
Even MODOK.
I love MODOK.
I like MODOK, but it's such a ridiculous premise.
Fair
Like,
enough.
this is a cartoon. This is something you're doing as Marvel to try to show people the diversity of your characters. Well, MODOK is not part of that. You shouldn't be bringing MODOK in.
No,
Not to mention the fact that if you're gonna bring MODOK in, it should be a part of an Avenger story.
they should have. Oh, I completely agree.
MODOK's not a character that carries his own story.
No, it should have absolutely been an Avengers story. Now, the character that I wish they would have put into this that they didn't, they should have just done Squirrel Girl. Everybody hates Squirrel Girl or loves her.
No, everybody loves Squirrel Girl. That's what I hate about her.
So
Because everybody loves her.
you love her, you hate her, but
I hate her.
Squirrel Girl would have been hysterical to do.
I
Troll it. If you're gonna do it, troll it.
just don't like this the character of Squirrel Girl, and I can't even count how many conversations I've had with Roger Wayne about this.
Or Joe Moore.
Anybody, everybody I know defends Squirrel Girl.
Remember the time she beat Thanos?
And Galactus.
She's so good.
She's not though. She's not. She's not. This is not a character who is capable of taking on the Planet Eater all alone. Sorry.
She did it.
No, she didn't.
It's in the books.
Nope, it's not. Everyone keeps saying that. I don't know why everyone keeps
you
saying
just
that.
deny it.
Yes, it's. I'm not.
That
I'm
comic
denying it.
doesn't exist.
No, that. The reality is, yes, that comic exists.
Okay.
But it's not Squirrel Girl alone, first of all. And a couple of those things happened in her imagination. That all the heroes loved her and were holding her up. Squirrel Girl, yay! Thanks for saving the world. That's not real.
Perception is reality.
No, it's not. It's not. Not when you're going to tell me that a girl with the powers of a squirrel can take on the mighty Planet Eater Galactus all on her own.
But a boy with the powers of a spider can fuck everything up?
Yeah.
No.
That's not sexist. Part of his power is super strength. Squirrel doesn't have no super strength.
Hey, squirrels are tough.
No, they're
You know how
not.
much stuff they can put in their cheeks?
Yes, I do. But do you also know that when you're hunting in the woods, and there are probably people who have experienced this out there, squirrels are so jittery that it is possible for them to hear a gunshot and have a heart attack and die.
Yeah.
Okay? So this is not an animal
It's also
who we should be emulating
it's
in a
also
superhero.
possible to fucking kick a spider and it dies.
I understand
So
that.
what if we throw our boots at Spider-Man?
Super strength is the one thing that separates the two characters, right?
Fair enough.
Spider-Man's super strength is enough to take on Captain America, for God's sakes.
Well,
And there are only a
technically-
handful of people in the Marvel Universe who could make that claim.
Technically, strength-wise, he's supposed to be on point with Thor even.
No.
They said that's I've read it and they said he pulls punches anytime he throws punches.
You're right, he does, because most of the time he's punching normal people, and he would literally punch their head off if he used his full strength. Captain America does it too. I'm just saying, the reality is super strength is what separates these characters.
Fair enough.
Squirrel doesn't have no super strength. She's a squirrel.
I'm just being argumentative for the sake of doing it because I think it's funny.
I'm done talking about Squirrel Girl.
No
I don't
more
want to talk about Squirrel
Squirrel
Girl anymore. I have recently though, and we're gonna do a review on this. Coming up on the new show once Capuano gets back in town. Our good friend Mike is a bigger video game nerd than I am.
Oh yeah,
by far.
Kingdom Hearts.
He might be the biggest video game nerd I know. But yes, I just recently finished Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah.
And saw the epic ending to the Dark Seeker saga. And you know what? The question I keep getting from most people is, was it worth waiting 13 years to see that ending? Yeah, it absolutely was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because not only, there was many times as I was playing through the game where I thought, how the hell is this all going to come together by the end of this game? Doesn't make any sense. There's too many plot threads. But guess what? It all comes together by the end of the game. And I'm blown away by Tetsuya Nomura's ability to tell a story over 10, 12 games and make it all make sense in the final act.
Took 13 years to make it happen, but it got done.
And it was good. It's a worthwhile game. If you're a fan of action RPGs or if you're a fan of Kingdom Hearts, you should be playing it.
I've heard nothing but good about the game. And
I've heard a few criticisms. One of the biggest criticisms I've heard is everybody always hated the gummy ship.
Yeah.
Right? This little spaceship that you have to travel between planets in. And so along the way, we got less of that in some of the games because, hey, listen to the fans. The reality is, though, in this game, it's one of the biggest aspects of the gameplay. It's almost a whole game unto itself, right? With upgrading and treasures to find and monsters to hunt down out in space. I mean, it's literally almost a whole game all by itself. Your craft starts at level 1. Mine's at level 85 now. I don't know where it caps out. I would assume 99 because that's usually the cap in JRPG games.
yeah.
And Sora caps out at 99. I recently just got him to level 99 as well because I'm a nerd and I have no time. I have plenty of time to video game, which took some doing. But I remember talking to Capuano and I asked him, what level did you have the Sora at when you got to the end of the game? And he goes, I think he was like 44 or something. I was like, I was at 80.
Okay, hold on though. So,
and I God moded my way through the end of that game. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I came to your house one day and you're playing Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
And you're like,
that's another one that was super good.
You're like, I could be done with the game right now, but I just don't want to beat it yet. I want to find everything and explore it all.
Yeah. Yeah,
I thought that was great. So like,
I usually God mode my way through the final boss because I've taken way too much time in the open world.
I was gonna say you get into the nitty gritty of it.
I do. It actually worked out really well for Kingdom Hearts though because my wife Corey is a huge fan of the story as well. Now she's not as she hasn't played all the games. I think she's just played the main entries in the series. She might have played one or two of the side games. But the reality is she wanted to experience the game as well. So I was only going forward with the story of the game when she was home or in the room.
Okay, watching. Okay.
Right. So, 10, 11 o'clock rolls around, she goes to bed. Well, now I have nothing to do but go back to the world I was just at. A, find all the treasure chests. B, find all the Mickey emblems that you have to take pictures of. And grind. So going into every level, I was always at least 10 levels above the level cap.
Way too OP to be doing it. Yeah.
Boss fights that I was talking to Capuano about that he said, oh man, this tactic was terrible. I was like, I didn't even see that tactic. I killed that thing before it even used that move.
You're like, dude, I punched him in the head and his body exploded. Like, why are you such a bitch?
Not to mention, I did all the space stuff, which is where you find a lot of the synthesis materials that allow you to upgrade your keyblades.
Okay.
So my Keyblade was always way too powerful for the level I was at, or for the story I was going. I mean, it was still fun.
Just spanking everything.
The final boss was, I think I took him down in like 4 minutes, which I think I heard Capuano say like it was a 10-minute fight for him because he has this tactic that he does where he takes away Sora's light. Now, that sounds weird, but what it does is it turns Sora into a Heartless for a minute.
Yeah.
And he goes into rage mode. Well, during that moment, you cannot deal any damage to the boss at all, but you still have to hit him a number of times before you get your light back and start damaging him again. He did that to me once during the boss fight. I think Capuano said he hit him with it like 6-7 times.
Oh, wow.
So like you take a boss fight that for me took 4 minutes, but if you're actually the level that you're supposed to be at, it's a hard fight and it drags out. So I just kind of flew through the end of the game.
That's so funny. So I am all about capping in a game. Like, I just want to get to the in-game content, but I also play games that cater to the in-game.
Sure.
And I will be going through, like, I'll play through the story mode because you have to do something in there to get to the end game, and I'll do it at a level or two below where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, you just breakneck speed moving through the story.
Yeah, and it sucks ass sometimes.
It's hard, yeah.
So, like, hearing you do that, I'm like, man, I could have been so much smarter about how I played this. But then I think about it, and I'm like, his time investment in that game at that point is so much greater than what I would have been willing to put into it.
I mean, it's true, but really all it took was an extra, I mean, you finish the world, the story is done.
An extra 40 hours, who cares?
No, you go back to that world, and all it took was maybe an extra an hour or so to get 5-6 levels, which puts you that many levels above where the level cap is for the next thing, right? That tells you, look, the recommended level for this is 30. Well, when you're at 35, yeah, you're more powerful. You're not that much more powerful, and it didn't take that long to get there.
But when you've done this on all the other levels and you're level 70 doing that level 35 stuff, you're cakewalking that shit.
I mean, the recommended level to be at for the finale world, I think, was like 46. Okay, well, so I was at 80. I was obviously
the world bent around
almost double the level cap.
That's
or
like
the level recommendation.
That's like being a level 10 in D&D and doing like a level 1 adventure.
It's true, but the reality is the ending is challenging, even still, right?
Yeah.
Even at the level I'm at, the ending was still challenging. I mean, shit, there was moments in that game where I couldn't even believe they were about to make me fight the characters I was about to fight, right? So one of the main bad guy for the first game was Ansem. The main bad guy for the second game was Xemnas. Okay, well, those characters are back. I mean, shit, that's not a spoiler. We've seen them in previews all the way leading up to the game. They're back. And there's literally a fight they set up where you're talking to Ansem and Xemnas and a younger version of the bad guy who's been traveling through time. 3 of the most powerful characters among his organization. And all of a sudden, the camera starts to pan around like you're about to get into a boss fight with all 3 of them. I was like, is this happening right now?
No,
I gotta fight all 3 of these guys? Like, are you kidding me? One of them was terrible as the final boss for the first game.
Yeah.
What about, I gotta fight all of them?
No!
And it's balanced, right? It's not, there's a lot of like when you start attacking one singular person, the other guys focus on your companion characters a little more. So like it has a balance, but it's still a challenge, right? To deal with all of these pieces on the board at once.
Hell yeah.
I will say though, it's beautiful. Like the story comes together in a very beautiful way. It brought me to tears at a few moments at the end. Yeah, it's just a really good game, and I'm gonna replay it and again, I'm sure, because I'm that kind of guy.
Aww.
On a more terrifying, probably wider net to cast, Resident Evil 2 is about to drop its first free DLC.
Yep.
On Friday. Which they are dropping over the next 3 months. They are dropping 3 separate DLC story packs that deal with 3 separate survivors.
Okay.
The first one deals with the owner of the Kendo Gun Shop, which is a location that you visit throughout the game, and it is implied that this man, his wife is already gone, and his daughter has been bitten, and it is implied throughout the game story that he kills her when she turns. So the first story is going to tell the tale of that guy.
Oh, wow.
Which should be interesting to watch and play through. The big thing, though, to take away is Capcom is giving away DLC.
No, that's amazing.
I don't understand why other companies can't do that.
Well, Capcom's they're big.
They are, and they've been a slave to the DLC process before.
I guess that's
doubt.
fair, yeah.
The reality, though, is I think as we've started to move forward, what we are realizing is, there used to be a time when you paid your $60.
You got your
and you got
game.
everything.
Yeah.
You didn't have to spend $40 more to get the ending. There are literally games that make you pay to see the true ending of the game.
No, that's obscene.
That's ridiculous, right?
I agree.
You should be able to pay your money and get your product.
Well, that's one.
And if they're going to add, well, just add.
Yeah,
don't make me pay more money.
I agree. Well, that's one of the things that Overwatch does well. Overwatch competitive PvP game. That's my cup of tea, not yours.
No, yeah, I don't Overwatch.
But what's cool about it, they add new characters. I don't have to pay to get new characters.
See, that's good.
They add them to the game. That's just part of it.
Yeah.
That's how it should be. If you're going to add content to a game, if it's not finished when you put it out, that's your fault, not mine.
Exactly. I see, and that's the reality, right? If what you're telling me is you're shipping an unfinished product, well, guess what? I'll wait the extra 6 months it takes you to finish it.
Yep.
Just finish it.
Finish it.
Don't release me an unfinished thing. It's why I hate things like PUBG, which was released literally as an unfinished product.
Well, that's how Fortnite is too.
That fans have played And eventually, the creators have listened and made the changes and quote unquote finished the game. But what? You're releasing an unfinished product to the masses.
That's what Fortnite
How are you
was too, though.
justifying me pay for that?
Fortnite beta. I mean, that's what it was, but they didn't
A
make you pay
beta
for
is
it.
not the same thing, right? A beta.
I think the game is still in beta, isn't it?
But see, that's what I'm talking about. That's terrible.
Oh, I agree.
This is one of the biggest games
it is the
in
biggest
the
game.
world.
It is the biggest
and it's
game.
still not finished? Come on, guys. Come on. Where did we lose this? Where along the way did we stop caring about selling a finished product?
Well, okay, one, I have to give it to him. You put a free game out and it fucking smashed everybody, and you're like, you know what? You can just pay for skins, and for some reason, every fucking person on the planet is willing to do that. What the fuck?
I get it. I don't understand it either. It boggles my mind.
My kids ask me to buy. Dad, will you buy me the skin? No. No.
I mean, does it enhance your gameplay experience
Fuck
that
no,
much?
it doesn't.
Right? Exactly.
It does nothing. It
What
makes your
is
character
this-
look different.
What is this that you're making me pay for? Because, if I'm paying you for upgraded weapons or extra levels,
I told him that.
that's one thing.
I told him that. I'm
But you're
like,
just paying for something to make your character look different?
yeah.
Nothing about the game changes?
Oh,
just
you still
the
have
fact
to go
that your
find
character
a
looks
gun
different?
when you start? No,
That's
man, you're
ridiculous.
high.
That's ridiculous.
Well, no, and that's what I told him. I'm like, dude, if I was paying for you to get content or something like that, I would do it. Absolutely.
Yeah, truth be told, I'm arguing, but I am a guy who buys season passes, right? Because guess what? If I like your game, I want to play everything your game has to offer. And because I am that way, you're taking advantage of me.
It's their fault, not yours.
It is their fault.
Oh,
they are,
God.
The idea of what this is started with microtransactions in free cell phone games.
Mm-hmm.
And it has splintered into the video game world.
No, it's a cancer.
That's what I'm saying. Yes, this is their fault, not ours.
But this is ours because we did it.
It doesn't matter. The point is, I like Batman Arkham Knight.
Yeah.
Right? And they were going to release add-on content within the game's story that added new villains, new story arcs, new missions to do. Well, guess what? I shouldn't have had to pay you an extra $40 to get those. I will because I love your game and I want to continue to play your game. But I'm just not, I'm not gonna, I just don't understand I just don't understand the practice of selling us unfinished products.
Fucking Mike Brodeur's here.
Mike Broder has just walked in. Hello, Mike Broder.
What's going on? What is this?
ETG for a second.
What's that? What are we? You know what? I'm not entertaining any geeks.
You're doing it right now.
No, I refuse.
We're discussing, video game companies scamming us by selling us unfinished products and making us pay them extra money to get the finished product.
You mean like Fantasy Flight board games?
Yes,
Where they
exactly.
deliberately take. I'm sorry, that should not disparage Fantasy Flight. But it seems like that they do a finished product, they carve 25% out of that product, and then say, "Hey, we've got our first
Absolutely.
expansion."
Exactly.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
no, video games are shameful for
I
that.
agree. Well, and that's so we were talking about Fortnite in particular, and then how everybody's done it based off of the mobile model.
Right, the
of-
microtransaction.
Yeah, microtransactions.
From mobile cell phone games that were free, but that you could pay a little money, 49 cents here, 20 cents there, to get your shit done faster in the game. Okay, that's fine, right? It's scam and it's taking advantage of people that are idiots, but whatever, it's fine. But now you've infected the video game world. There was a time when I spent $60 on that game,
and it was done.
and I got all you were going to give me. Everything was in there in the package.
So is there? I mean, have you defined the distinction between what is a correction and what is an expansion?
So any content that you have to purchase after initially buying the game is technically scammy content.
So for example, I don't play a lot of video games, but
Sure.
I love Witcher 3, and I've played through Witcher 3 more than once. Now, the first time I played through Witcher 3, the two, Heart of Stone and Blood and Wine, those two DLCs did not exist, but I had a many hours complete play experience and didn't feel ripped off when I bought both of those DLCs and then played through them.
Sure.
So our initial argument for this was as follows. If the game was not finished, you should have finished it before you should have finished it before making everybody pay for that content.
The reality is, I'll wait an extra 6 months.
Yep.
You got a bunch of shit you want to add to the game.
It's not done.
And it's not done. So take some time and finish it.
But all right, so then if I can be the advocate for the video game company, why would I do that? You're already buying my game, and you're buying the additional content, why would I possibly hold off
Well, and that's-
on why? Why would I do that?
And
That's what we're talking about.
I
We're trying to
initially
understand
stated, that is
where the
our
blame
fault.
comes from,
It is
right?
our fault as consumers.
Right, because we are petulant and impatient children,
Yep.
and we must have what we want immediately this second, and they take advantage of that.
Well,
So really, we the consumer are at fault.
So like a game like Destiny, which is one that I've loved, they've put out all kinds of updates. They have an update schedule. At this time, this DLC is going to come out.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're so fucking stupid that we know that you have an update scheduled for 3 months away when we buy this brand new game.
It's true.
And then another one 3 months after that, but we still buy it. Like,
But what initially sparked this conversation is Resident Evil 2 remake just came out.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic zombie survival horror game. It really recaptures what made those games so scary and fun in the first place. And they have 3 months of extra story packs that they're releasing. Well, guess what? They're releasing them for free.
because you already bought the game.
Because you've already made them more than their money back on the cost of making this game, making this product.
That's not an American company, is it?
No. Capcom is not. I mean, they have an office. They have offices here in America, but it's not an American company.
Right,
No,
because
it's a Japanese company.
Right, because what an American company would do would say, "Hey, you bought our game, and by the way, we've got this kick-ass stuff coming down, and it's coming down the pipe, and it's going to be this great cheap price for $10,
Right.
$9.99
Yeah.
downloadable for your da 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 da." Yeah, I mean,
for the
they're
low price of $10.
They're fools for not charging you for it because you, not you two specifically, but the royal you would pay for that
It's
content.
true.
They're leaving money on the table. It's a mistake.
Or they're good for doing it. I mean, that company has more money than anything.
But see, the problem comes in
That's
is
not that. What I'm an investor, right? I am looking at the bottom line, and as an investor, they are doing me a disservice by leaving money on the table.
I understand what you're saying.
Or they just put this fucking game out that did $1 billion.
But okay, but it's not 1.2 billion, and it could be. And they've left money on the table. And as an investor, I'm disgruntled by that, and I'm going to sell my shares or overthrow the people who are in charge so that this bullshit doesn't happen.
That
again.
investor should.
Can I cuss on this show?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
That investor should suck dick because. Basically, okay, what you've proven to the people who follow your product and who invest in it, because the ultimate investor is the consumer.
Right.
Okay.
It's true.
And if you don't understand that as a consumer, you need to now.
You're going to buy it anyway.
But
You
the
don't
reality
have
is
to.
when your content
When
your content adds some new layer to the game's
Sure.
narrative
Yeah.
or some new layer to the game's multiplayer, that's one thing.
Right.
But the problem comes in when you have all these companies, especially I'm going to use EA is an American company. I'm going to use them as a perfect example because they have been caught up in court cases where people are suing them because the quote unquote loot box model where you pay for a thing that is essentially roulette.
Right.
You get whatever pops up randomly based on the algorithm, is gambling.
Yeah.
It's absolutely the same as gambling, and people are losing their lives because of how stupid this model is, right? So that is the problem I have, right? If what you're giving me doesn't add to the game, it's just I pay so I can be more beefy or have that better gun.
So how is the loot box model different than the collectible card game model, different than the Pokemons
It's
and the
not.
Magic the Gathering?
It's absolutely not.
So then why is this considered gambling, but the collectible card game industry is not considered gambling?
It probably should be. I mean, there literally been court cases
See,
where
I'm not going to call it gambling because I think that's kind of asinine. But like as far as my initial statement goes, because I didn't finish this thought. So if a consumer sees that a company is going to basically honor the people that are buying their game by releasing content and giving that to you for free for making the initial purchase, I think consumers are far more likely to purchase what's coming down the pipeline next. And then at that point, you might make another $1.5 billion because of the great experience that people initially had. That is how branding has worked from the beginning. You give somebody something and you give them more than they expect, so you build brand recognition at that point. And if a lot of companies would kind of grab onto that, the thing that it works, it happens. Like,
Yeah, but see, these video games are just like pussy. Why would I give you for free what I know you will pay for?
I think whatever.
Why? Why would
don't
I
pay
do
for
that?
it. I don't pay for it. So
you
okay,
get, but,
I've got Injustice 2.
This is a conversation for the other show. You pay, Chris.
I've got Injustice 2 sitting over here, and I can go pay $5.99 for a character or whatever. I'm like, go fuck yourself, you thieves! I already bought your goddamn game. I'm not buying anymore.
Right, but
you're
it's
talking
not,
about The Witcher, right?
Yeah, but it's not theft because they tell you up front, if you want this additional thing, it is additional money. You don't have to buy it. But if you want, do I have to buy new rims for my fucking 2008 Honda Civic? No. But if I want to look like a sweet pimp, I go out and buy rims. It's not necessary for the function of my vehicle, but it's a thing that I want.
The difference is,
But
is
what you got when you bought your Witcher downloadable content, did you feel like your money was well spent on something that you enjoyed?
Heart of Stone was fucking amazing.
So let's look at it a different way. If what you bought was just a different haircut for Geralt, would you still feel like you spent your money wisely?
Okay.
Because in most games, that's how it works. We were just talking about Fortnite selling you a skin. It's literally just something that makes your character look different. It doesn't add anything to the game.
So let me ask you guys this. What Spec Ops commandos from this company are coming into your home and putting a gun to your head and making you buy this?
None of them, because they're scared of my guns.
Okay. So my point is that no one is forcing you to do a damn thing.
You're right.
And I'm not.
You're right.
So don't.
Fuck your system.
So don't do it.
What I'm hoping is...
But there's... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
What I'm hoping is companies like Capcom and some of the other companies that have started to release their DLC for free are starting to learn from the unhappiness in the gaming community about this scam that they're pulling off on us.
But there is a distinction between optional and incomplete.
It's true.
If a game is not done, they will patch it. If there's a problem, they will patch it for free.
But see, they don't always. There are some games that make you pay for the true ending of the game. Yeah, we'll give you an ending. But if you want to see that true ending, you got to pay.
Oh, well, you're a scumbag. And
right.
I'll never
That's
buy...
what I'm talking
I'll
about.
never buy one of your games.
It's getting out of control.
I'll never buy one of your games again. But so far, I have not had that experience, but I'm not much of a video gamer. I mean, it's got to be something... They're very few and far between, are things that I will dedicate myself to. But I'll play... I mean, you've told me, like, this whole cowboy game, what's the cowboy game?
Red Dead Redemption.
I just not ring my bell, and the controls suck, and I don't care for it. I'd just rather play Witcher 3 again.
Yeah, I'm not a big Red Dead Redemption fan. I'd rather go sit down and play Legend of Zelda again.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's the reality,
Well, I was bragging to Jason about Overwatch, the game that you've caught me playing the last couple times you've come over. They release new characters. You don't pay for them. You already paid for the game. You get your characters.
Right, here's a new character.
Yeah.
Here's a new skin.
I have a question. How is that a sustainable business model? If I am paying people to produce content that I am giving away for free, how am I making money?
Absolutely, right. But the problem, the only difference in what we're talking about is most of the time, that content that is released after the fact was made while they were creating the game.
It was already done.
It's not like we're bringing a new team in to make new content. We made that content during the development process. We just, like
on a
Fantasy
server.
Flight, are cutting out 25% and holding on to it so that we can sell it back to you later.
It sits on a server. It's scheduled to release on this date at this time.
Yeah. There's no human part of it, right? This is just content we've already created that we pulled out of the game so that we could make a little more money
Our
down the road.
social media manager made 2 tweets about this so that you would know it's coming out and that you can buy it.
So yeah.
So don't buy it.
I don't. I tell them suck my dick.
You don't, but people do.
People do, yeah.
Yeah, you guys are the problem. Stop that shit.
Yeah, and as an investor, thank you. That's what I want to know. As a man who has many shares of Capcom that I'll be selling because Capcom is fucking me. I will. Yeah.
But in any case, the reality is there are 3 new story packs coming for Resident Evil 2 that should add a little bit more elements to some of the people you meet through the game process. And some of those stories, like I said, I feel like they're more interesting stories than the main character stories. The first one that's popping up, I was talking to Chris about, we were talking about this earlier, is the gun shop owner. The Kendo gun shop is the location you go to in the game. You meet him. His wife is dead, or she got bitten and he killed her. And his daughter kind of comes wandering out of the back room while you're talking to him. She's been bitten as well, and she's literally on the cusp of turning. He tells you to get the fuck out of his shop. He goes in that back room, and as you're walking out the door, you hear a gunshot.
Wow.
Okay, well, this is the guy that we're going to tell a story about for this first story DLC pack. And honestly, I'm very excited about that. Again, I'm more excited about that than the main characters of the story.
Right.
And Leon and Claire are interesting characters on their own and have an interesting arc through dealing with this zombie-infested mutant, holocaust that's going on in Raccoon City. But some of the side characters have far more depth, and I can't wait to see what they do. But like I said, I hope that more companies.
What is that?
That's whiskey.
And why is it on the rocks? Why did you ruin it
It's
with
nasty,
ice?
cheap whiskey,
Oh, okay.
and I care about you.
Thanks. I don't understand the rocks. So is Jason sticking around to wear pants?
I don't know. He said he's got something to do tonight, so I don't know if he's going to be able to.
I have to help my sister tonight. It's
awful late. It's fucking 10:45. You don't need to help your sister do shit.
She doesn't have a car.
Otherwise, it's some weird incest, and that's fucked up.
She doesn't have a car right now, so I'm giving her a ride to
Is it
pick
your
up a
hot
car.
sister?
I don't find my sisters hot,
Yeah,
so
well,
you'll have to be more specific.
Listen, first of all,
Oh my
you
God.
have eyes, and you
I also have 9 sisters.
You have the
Jason's hardly even attracted to women at this point.
So,
you grew up with 9 sisters and you're done.
my point is that I can look at a man and assess if that is an attractive man, even though I'm not a homosexual.
Right, Chris.
You can
Chris is an
look
attractive
at
man.
your sisters and say that's the hot one.
So is she objectively hot? Sure.
Yeah, was this the one that worked at Medical West?
Yes.
Yeah, she's the hot one. Yeah. So the answer to that question is yes. We've just wasted 3 minutes of the listener's time. You could have just said, yeah, it's the hot one, but no.
We gave the listeners 3 minutes of fucking glory, making Mike tell somebody why their sister's hot.
I'm so glad you showed up while we were still recording this episode.
I figured.
I'm so glad.
I figured that you would. Your sister's fucking banging, dude. I don't know what you want me to tell you.
Oh my God, Mike! You can't tell somebody that.
I just did.
It's his opinion. It doesn't
I
have any
just
bearing
did.
on me.
Here's the thing. You don't tell me what to do, Chris Parsons.
You are fucking sassy tonight.
So here's the thing.
You guys are gonna have an interesting time.
We
Here's the thing.
are.
I didn't take my antidepressants, so I'm very manic. And I didn't put on deodorant today. I forgot everything, and so I fucking stink.
Do you want some deodorant?
No, that's disgusting. I'm not using your deodorant.
I'll shave some off.
No, I'm not. No, I'm fine. I'm gonna go home after this. If I wanted deodorant, I wanted it at 4:00 this afternoon.
You know what? All I tried to do was help. I tried to be a good friend, and I'm the asshole.
Yep.
No, you're not the asshole. You're an asshole,
asshole.
but that is unrelated to this conversation.
I fucking hate you.
I know.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap things up. So do me a favor. Go to entertainthegeeky.com. This is Rebirth. You're welcome. You can follow us on all of our social media there. If you have questions, comments, concerns, drop it on the comment section on our Facebook. Hit us up on Twitter, wherever. You can email us at entertainthegeeky@gmail.com. Jason and I are on top of this shit.
I love responding to people.
Yeah.
And if you want
I
this
just wish
Mike
more
guy to be
people-
on and be like, fuck Roger, get that Mike guy on, you just send your email, hashtag
Wow.
Mike.
Wow.
Hashtag-
Hashtag Mike
Oh my God.
Broder.
Hashtag Mike on the mic.
Mike, oh my God. Did Mike just take over my other show?
Yeah, fuck you, Roger. I love you,
Okay.
Roger.
Wow.
But
All
I'm
right.
here, Roger. You're not here, Roger. I'm
Guys,
Pickle Rick.
as always, stay geeky.
So I saw a
Oh
meme
my
today
God.
with Pickle Rick, but he had the beard and hair of Pickles from Death Clock, and he was like, "I'm Pickles Rick."
That's brilliant.
Yeah,
This is fucked up.
yeah.
Oh.
That got magical.
Yeah, right there at the end. Yeah. Otherwise, we were just being nerdy, boring people
Yeah.
until Mike got here.
I mean, I felt like we were having these fun conversations about nerdy shit, and Mike shows up and he drops his dick on the
Slaps
table.
it, yeah, lifts
All
it right
fucking-
out,
all
slaps it
inch-
on the
All
table.
inch and a half of this cocker on the table.
Yeah.
He's like, look at this little thing.
Oh, I'm gonna show you guys the most fucked up thing I've ever
I was about to say,
seen.
if you're about to whip your cock out, I'm gonna go.
No, it's that my cock's not anything impressive to look at.